Hi everybody, I just wanted to take a minute to congratulate all of you guys that are working on saying your books of the Bible, and congratulate all of the ones that have already said all 66 books. And today we've got a new person that has said all 66 books, and it's Kate. And she gets to get her name over on the Old Testament today and the New Testament. Way to go, Kate! Good morning, boys and girls. This is the last Sunday of the spring quarter, and it's review day. So let's think about some of the lessons that we've talked about this quarter and the things that we've learned. We started with Joshua, who became the leader of the Israelites after Moses. His first major task was to conquer the city of Jericho. He sent spies to Jericho. They were hidden by Rahab. Because she hid the spies, Rahab and her family were promised that they would be saved when the city was attacked. The Israelites crossed the Jordan River on dry land. As soon as the priest stepped into the waters parted and the people crossed over. Then they fought the battle of Jericho.
Joshua fought the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua fought the battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down. Around they marched, not one or two, 3 or 4, 5 or 6. Around they marched for 7 days, and the walls came tumbling down. The people shouted and they blew their horns, they blew their horns, they blew their horns. The people shouted and they blew their horns, and the walls came tumbling down.
Each of the tribes of Israel were given land. They were told to drive out all of the foreign idol worship nations in the sections of the land they were given. After Joshua, there was a time of the judges.
God set judges over Israel, 1 brave woman, 14 men. They helped Israel fight their battles, led them back to God from sin. Othniel, Ehud, Shamgar, Deborah, Gideon, Abimelech, Tola, Jair, Jephthah, Ibzan, Elon, Abdon, Samson, Eli, Samuel.
Hey, 2nd and 3rd and 4th graders, in your packets that I've been sending you, I sent you some color sheets to color about the judges. Please bring those back so we can put them up in our classroom and add to all of our collection of art in our classroom. We talked about Gideon and the test of fleece, and how God had Gideon choose a small army of 300 by watching how they drank water. We discussed the story of Samson, how he was a Nazirite who was not allowed to cut his hair. Do you remember the riddle Samson created? Out of the eater comes something to eat, and out of the strong, something sweet. We also discussed Delilah and how she convinced him to tell her the secret of his strength. How she had his long hair cut off and he became weak and was captured, but he asked for one last bit of strength to bring down the temple of the Philistines with all of the Philistines in it.
Samson was a judge in Israel, yes he was. Samson was a judge in Israel, yes he was. Samson was a judge in Israel, and God used him to do his will. Samson was a judge in Israel, yes he was. Samson was so strong and mighty, yes he was. Samson was so strong and mighty, yes he was. Samson was so strong and mighty with his strength from God Almighty. Samson was so strong and mighty, yes he was. Samson killed 1,000 soldiers, yes he did. Samson killed 1,000 soldiers, yes he did. Samson killed 1,000 soldiers, not with rocks and not with boulders, but he killed them with a jawbone, yes he did. Samson gave in to Delilah, yes he did. Told the secret of his strength, yes he did. Had his hair cut while he slept. When he woke up, Samson wept. Samson gave in to Delilah, yes he did. Well, they all made fun of Samson, yes they did. When the Philistines caught Samson, yes they did. So he tore down their construction and he caused complete destruction. Thousands died because of Samson, yes they did.
We discussed Ruth, how she stayed with Naomi and eventually married Boaz.
Naomi said, "Listen, my daughters, hear me now. My heart is sad, my soul is bowed. My husband's gone, I'll leave this land. I will return to Bethlehem." And Ruth said, "I will go, I will go, I will go where'er you go. I will go, I will go, will go with you, Naomi. Orpah said, Mother, I love you, yes I do, but my family's here, 'tis true. I must remain though sad at heart, it grieves me greatly now to part. Can you sing with me for what Ruth said? I will go, I will go, I will go where'er you go. I will go, I will go, I will go with you, Naomi.
We discussed how Hannah prayed for a son, Samuel, and how she gave him to serve the Lord with Eli the priest, and how God spoke to Samuel even as a boy. Samuel grew up to be the last judge. He also was a prophet. He anointed the first king of Israel, Saul. Saul was very jealous of David for many reasons. David was a great leader in battle, even more famous than Saul. David killed Goliath. David was friends with Jonathan, Saul's son. Saul disobeyed God, so God chose a new king who would take over when Saul died, David.
Only a boy named David and only a babbling brook. Only a boy named David and 5 little stones he took. And 1 little stone went into the sling and the sling went around and around. 1 little stone went into the sling and the sling went around and around. And around and around and around and around and around and around and around. And 1 little stone went up, 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 and the giant came tumbling down.
David was called a man after God's own heart. He wrote many of the Psalms. David sinned with Bathsheba, had her husband killed, and then he married her. Nathan the prophet came to David and told him a story that made David realize that his sin was like the man who took his neighbor's pet lamb, and David repented. After David, Solomon became king. Solomon asked God for wisdom and he received it.
Shall I ask for riches, is it wrong? Shall I ask for life that's very long? Or my enemies ask for victory? I will ask an understanding heart for me. God was very pleased with Solomon's replies, made him rich and famous, also made him wise, taught him all about the earth and sky and birds. People came from everywhere to hear his words. Shall I ask for riches, is it wrong? Shall I ask for life that's very long? Or my enemies ask for victory? I will ask an understanding heart for me.
He wrote many proverbs, and people came from all over to hear his words and to have their arguments settled. Solomon built a wonderful temple for God. But later in life, Solomon started worshiping other gods, and that made God very angry. And the kingdom of Israel was divided into 2 sections, Israel and Judah.
All of Israel wants a king. Samuel says that's not a good idea. God said, give them what they want. Samuel then anointed Saul. Saul was king in Israel first. Then came David, next came Solomon, and after that the kingdom fell. Should have obeyed Samuel.